At the federal level,
yes.
you know, something that the coordinating minister of the economy has also spoken about.
I'm very give the assurance that it's not
you know, yes, as much as possible, she gave those reassurances.
Yes.
But there's also something that she's talked about constantly, that we cannot keep up the wage bill that we're paying. It is not possible. When she talks about recurrent expenditure, according to her, they have been able to look inwards to see how they can, you know, shrink the wage bill, as it were, and ensure that they weed out as many ghost workers as possible. She comes up periodically to give figures that they've been able to save as a result of this weeding out process. But how cooperative would you say that Labour has been in terms of looking critically at the wage bill and saying these are areas that we think we can help?
Which wage bill? You know, I mean, you need to recurrent expenditure. It includes what the coordinating minister, Mrs. Ngozi also said, you know, when she was announcing austerity measures, foreign trips by ministers, by government officials, expensive
she says will be cut out.
Educational, I mean, the so-called study tours, you know, also funny trips they all make abroad. Herself never seen with bill, even when he was announcing the austerity, because the wage component, when I mean wage, salary earners that include the working people that work in the service, is a small component of the entire recurrent expenditure. It is the real overhead bloated cost of governance. And I think what I expect President Goodluck Jonathan to do, including coordinator, to say, no, we are sacrificing, we are reducing the emolument of ministers, of the president, of the legislators. You know, because that's where the real leakage is all about. I mean, they are well loaded there. You know, nobody's talking about that. You only put, you know, the burden on already those who are already burdened, and everybody could see this. You know, so what I'm trying to say, and I think we've just finished the primaries, you know, of the parties. For me, I thought those are the issues that I've been missing, you know, in these commendable, I mean, processes that we just witnessed within the two parties. I mean, when I mean commendable, we've seen the products, you know, through some processes that have been carried out. But the missing link is candid issues about the economy. You know, and I think what we expect is to have robust debates, you know, among the political parties on the direction of the economy in a way that the electorate can make proper choice.
How is Labour going to engage? Looking at the times that we're in now, how do you plan as an organization to engage with the different, it's not just political parties now, but the different candidates in terms of the direction of policies?
No, I've told you where the engagement is already on, because we watch the processes that have taken place now. I mean, I personally am quite impressed that parties are keeping up to their constitution in terms of internal democracy. You know, at least we saw it openly the way they've elected their presidential candidate, although there are a lot of tensions at the states. You know, you can debate the quality of these processes of states in which some are in position, some through consensus, some through elections, as the case may be. But the real missing link is that we have not seen positions being taken on the economy, you know, on real sector of the economy, how to grow the sector of the economy, on wage improvement, job creations, employment. The two candidates talk about it, but it's debatable whether that's part of the program of the parties that share among the political parties. And now we're going to engage them. We've done it before. You know, if you check on Memory Relay in 2003, NSC actually engaged all the presidential candidates, you know, about 4 of them, to find out what is the agenda, not just for Labour, for Nigeria as a whole. I hope we'll be able to repeat the same thing this time around in a more concrete way. But I want to say here that no contestant, no candidate will have the vote of Labour if you don't show that there must be departure from this business as usual kind of economy. You must have a work plan on how to move from a containers economy. What I mean container economy is that Nigeria is bringing us up containers now. Everything is imported, you know, to real productive economy. You know, we would demand for our representatives, whoever would represent us in the Senate, in the House of Rep, at the governor's level and at the presidency, that this quantity advantage that Nigeria has in terms of population must be translated to real sustainable jobs for our people. You know, you have to protect the real income and move people out of this level of poverty to prosperity. And we need real concrete measures. You know, policy measures that we can relate to.
You talked about this plan, you talked about some of the policies that are being put in place, but in your estimation, how concrete is what you're seeing on the ground to ensure that...
The Nigeria Industrial Revolution Plan, I mean, it's quite concrete enough. I mean, if you read through, extremely...
That's what I'm saying, that's a document.
Identify the strengths of Nigeria in terms of, we have a huge market, I mean, 170 million people. I mean, that's good for domestic production, but unfortunately, we are just consuming products that are not produced by us, and the more you consume imported goods, the more you are importing unemployment, exporting your own jobs. We ride the best of cars, but where are the assembly plants? Where is made in Nigeria, Toyota, Nissan? You can mention them. It's for us to be able to do that. Sometimes we are the most highly well-dressed people. All the fabrics we are producing, we have them here, but we are not producing them. Textile industry have closed that. Are we going to revive them? And honestly speaking, there was once in Nigeria in the 70s, 80s. Nigeria used to be the employment destination, not just for West African citizens, Ghanaians who are working here in our factory, but even foreigners, from India and Asia. So now it's possible to roll it back.
Mr. Aremu,
you can't do so with electricity.
The argument also that labor contributed to the decay in the industrial sector. How? Because there were labor workers there as well, who did not manage the equipment well, who did not manage the resources.
No, I don't.
So we did not shift it all to power. If you talk about the power component of the industrial sector, labor was also part of those in the power sector. So what happened? What did labor do?
No, I think in that plan, which I try to refer to, Industrial Revolution Plan, one of the weaknesses identified is include the skill gap. The skill gap, because yes, we have the number in terms of population, workforce, but we must improve on our skills. It's about training. So it's not so much in terms of labor undermining productive processes, that if you don't train the workforce, if you don't motivate them in terms of good pay, you get the point. There's no way you can really have a competitive labor force. Even China, I mean, there used to be, the reason why people say China has competitive advantage in those days was that they have lower pay than us, and it was true. About 10 years ago, I mean, Nigeria average worker minimum wage in Nigeria was far more higher than China, than in China. But today, the Chinese have moved on. The average minimum wage in China is close to about $250. To $300. I mean, here I've given you the figure and I calculate it. Real minimum wage now is just it's about $60. So even in tax, we are not competitive. An hungry workforce cannot be more productive than its level of welfare. But above all, skills acquisition. Everybody agree on that, and that's why I'm happy with the power sector reform. They also put the training component. I think there's a training institute now that's supposed to, make sure that workers have the skills to cope with the new challenges in the power sector. We have the industrial training fund too, which has been established. I think it's time for us to fund those things. And that's the point I'm raising. All these critical issues of development are not yet featuring in the contestation for offices next year. And I think all of us have to engage the candidates, who want to rule us. Because Nigeria today is not short of governors. We have all the governors, we have the president, the deficit is good governance. So the new set of candidates who want to come here as president, as governors, as legislators must show what they are bringing new. And that means they must relate to what is on the ground, which is the challenge of development.
Mr. Aremu, yes. Just before we go, we're out of time, but just before we go, one of your affiliates has demanded that with the devalue in the Naira or with the spiraling oil prices, Nigerians should be paying a lot less for fuel. Why?
Yeah. Oh no, it's logical. I mean, look at the template. It doesn't have to be labeled view. The template for calculating the price of petroleum products, the price of crude oil is fundamental. The reason why, if you find out with increasing price of oil, is that the price of crude oil was going up. I think it's a paradox for Nigeria. Why we should be benefiting from high price of crude oil? Because we are import dependent, refineries are not working. We rely on imported petroleum products. They are now increasing the price of petroleum products. But now that the price of crude has come down, ideally the price of petroleum products should come down. Should come down. I mean, if you follow the logic of the argument of a deregulation, as they want to put it, but I'm not surprised that we're also caught in this cul-de-sac because you've also devalued the currency, because exchange rate is also critical in that template. So if you devalue the currency, that means you need more naira to pay for so-called imported fuel. But ideally, the price of petroleum should come down, and that's the crisis we have in relating with the issue of deregulation. It seems the concept of deregulation means prices must always go up and come down. And I think it will have been quite significant to see it to drop, to reflect the logic of the claims of people arguing for deregulation. But sadly, it hasn't done so. And many countries are also importing petroleum. They've reduced the price of their product, petroleum product. But for me, this discussion is not even useful. What would be useful would be the time we have appropriate price for made in Nigeria petroleum products. That's when the refineries are back to work, and I think that's part of the legitimate demand of petroleum workers. Why is it that we have 4 refineries that are not working up to now? Whether you want to turn them around, you want to repair them, or those who said you want to reprivatize it, the bottom line is that we want functioning refineries. It would be nice for Nigerians to pay prices for made in Nigeria petroleum that products that are coming from Europe and America.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aremu.
And that's the way we can create jobs.
Good place to hang it there. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We've been speaking with Mr. Issa Aremu, Vice President of the Nigerian Labour Congress. I've been looking at the economy and the effects of the devaluation of the naira. We'll take a break and we'll come back to look at some other things. Just stay with us.